Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Reeves Ramblings. This is Shauna and I'm coming to you today with something different, something new. And it is my first time. I really don't know what I'm doing, but I mean, that's life, right? Half the time we just fake our way through it or we try to do the best that we can, which is what I am doing with this episode. A couple of you guys, you reached out to me and you said, hey, you should consider getting guests, you should consider doing a video, and I've decided to take your advice. This episode will not be in a video format, but I have created a YouTube channel and I will be uploading videos to that soon. This one could not be in the video format because my guest is not in the same city as I am. I'm sure we could have probably figured out some way to do it via Zoom with a video, but again, technology, and I don't want to try that and then it doesn't work out. So for today, you will just be hearing our voices. My guest for tonight or today, wherever you are, is Mr. Kemar Brown. He is a Jamaican student studying in China. Kemar, can you say hey to the people?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Shauna.
Thank you for joining me today. So, a little backstory, guys, about Kemar. So, I do not know Kemar personally, but I feel like I do. We met in this group on WeChat, Jamaica's Finest. I've talked about them on my podcast before. So, it's a group of Jamaicans living in China. And I remember when Kemar joined the group, we were listening to voice messages, and there was this person with a weird accent, like he sounded like he was from Trinidad or from Barbados. Like we were like, where is he from? Like, why is he talking like this? But it got me intrigued, and I was like, okay. Over time, like as we started to talk more in the group, I recognized that Kemar was like he had a lot of thoughts and he had no qualms about sharing them. And you know, sometimes people talk and they talk a lot of foolishness or they talk just to be heard. But what everything that he said, it made sense, or you could pick some sense out of it. And even
Some
when he's
sense.
just saying his weird thoughts, he would always say, okay, but this is what I'm saying and this is what I think. So there was always like a condition. So I really appreciated that, as well as the candor and I think your overall drive. So when I thought about getting what do you call it? Guests on this show, I was like, I want Kemar to be the first person that I interview because I do admire what you are doing. And we have talked in the group and privately, and you've said to me on multiple occasions that I inspire you or I motivate you, but I just want to let it be known that you inspire and you motivate me as well. So, Kemar, tell us a little bit about yourself before I go into like some questions that I think I have in my head.
Well, so hello again, everybody. I don't know if there's anything else to add to what Shauna has, has enunciated thus far, because I mean, what you see with me is really what you get. I try not to, put on, So some say that I might wear my emotions very, very well, like on my sleeve or my forehead and that kind of thing. But
Mhm.
it's just really not trying to hide behind any facade, because at the end of the day, it's gonna come out who you really are. So you just put out who you are from the get-go.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm just that kind of person. I'm very jovial. Sometimes I take it a little bit too far, but you know, that's a human thing. But I'm naturally a people's person. I thank God for that ability to uh, be able to relate to people
Mhm.
on whatever level that they are. Because I mean, no one is better than the other. So
Mhm.
even if you come from a poor background or a rich background, you're gonna get the same respect from me, as long as it is reciprocated, that kind of thing. So Kemar is just one of those guys who, I'm gonna toot my own horns a little bit here, that you would want to meet in your lifetime. That you would want to meet in your lifetime.
Okay, thank you for that, Kemar. And guys, he is really that cocky and conceited, but in a good way. He has
I am not. I am just a
qualities.
very good way.
He has qualities to back it up, I think. But you mentioned about like being a people's person, and I've realized that as well, as Jamaicans would say, spirit tech. So like my spirit like take you from the first message that I saw. And over
Indeed.
time, as we spoke, like you mentioned about wanting to be a leader in Jamaica. And I think your personality would match that, especially as you said, being a people's person, respecting everyone, no matter the color, the status, the
Yeah.
finances. So tell us a bit about that. Why do you think you would want to be a leader in Jamaica? And what are you doing now? What are the steps that you think you're taking now to help you to achieve that goal?
All right. Jamaica is really not short on youth leaders. So
Mm,
I'm just going to be adding to the pool of a great many young people who are desirous of just, being a change agent in Jamaica.
mhm,
I mean, you grew up, if you grew up like I did, you see some of the decadence in the inner city. You want to not be a part of that, but at the same time, be a part of it in a positive way. So you want to be a kind of example to say, listen, I come from here too, and I did this, and you can do it too. And so there's a great many, um, there's a great need for positive role models, especially males,
mm,
positive role models.
mhm,
And I believe that there is a remnant of young people on both sides of the political divide. Whether
mhm,
you are, in our country, there are two major political parties.
mhm,
So on both sides of the divide, there's just a remnant of young people who really want to see better for Jamaica. It's really like two vehicles,
mhm,
trying to get to a particular destination. One choose one route and the other choose another. But at the end of the day, their destination, the goal, the aim that is in mind is just really for positive changes in Jamaica. And I see politics for me as that kind of vehicle where I can positively impact people's lives, you know, and to have a seat at the table of decision making so that whatever policies come down from the top don't just, affect or to be the benefit of those who are in leadership or those who have the moneyed class and that kind of people, but
Yeah, because
policies that,
I've seen a lot of that in Jamaica. So I
yeah,
think that you mentioned that you want to change what is currently happening, right?
um, and it's always good to have that kind of ambition.
Mm-hmm,
And there's a saying that says, "When you go there, you will see." So I hope that I will not be sucked into that kind of culture, but there is need for greater positive impact on the majority of the people in our country.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you think that living and studying in China, actually, not do you think, because it does, but what
Yeah,
impact
it
do you
does.
think living and studying in China has on that goal? Because the government system, I mean, it's
The systems are different.
vastly
The-
different. The
yeah, systems
culture,
are different.
people, the infrastructure. There are so many differences here to Jamaica. But what influence do you think that has on your decision?
Well, first of all, even though this is a communist country, what I see is that there's a great buy-in from the citizens of this country into the government policy. That whether they by chance,
Yeah.
or they don't have a choice, but for the majority of the time, for a majority of the time, there is a sense of belief in their government system. What do I mean by that? This is a communist country, a party that has over 89 million people out of 1.4 billion people. Now they have to, present a face to the populace that, listen, we are the party of choice and we're the only party of choice.
Mm,
Now, other people might see that as saying, yes, so that's why they can get away with a lot of things.
mm,
But over on this side, if you're in the country and you're looking in on an objective level, you can see that they don't get away necessarily with a lot of things. They actually have to do the work so that they can remain viable in the populace's eyes. And so I think there is a lesson there that can be learned, especially in Western democracies, that even though most of them are, living for the next election, so they don't want to do some things now, and then, they lose and that kind of thing. So the policies change and the people change and that, the lesson here is do the work that is required for the people, because that is how you are elected for and by the people.
Yes.
And if the people which is government essentially, if the people are the employers of these people who we put in office, don't realize that the power really rests in the electorate, then you're going to continue to get away with the skullduggery and the corruption and all the kind of thing that is taking place. So people can look on the outside, look from the outside, looking on the inside and say, hey, it's a communist country, the people don't have a choice. I say no, because 1.4 billion people can get up any day and riot against 89 million people. If things are not going the way that it's supposed to go, for example, if a road is to be built, Shana, and government comes to the people and says, this road is going to be built by May, rest assured that the road is going to be built by May and probably even earlier.
Yes, yes.
So the people see these things and they're like, oh, this is a government of their word. So if we put in somebody else, we might not get that kind of, alacrity from government. So you know what, make us just keep them people. That is how I view it. It might be simple, it might be trivial, but it works in a kind of way.
Yeah, I think most people in the West, as you said, they're on the outside and they see what the media portrays, and it's always like, oh wait, well, I want free choice. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do that. But for me, I've since I've lived in China, I've never felt so free. And
it is surprising.
yes,
it's absolutely surprising.
When I hear my experiences, it's as if it's hard for them to fathom, like how.
Yeah.
But then I can, as you said, like if there's a promise made that hey, this will happen, it's done.
It is going to be
I don't have to worry about my safety. I can walk on the street at any time of the night. I can leave my stuff and I'm fine. And sad to say, but in America or in Jamaica, that is not the case. But it is here. But
in a communist country.
But I think for us as Jamaicans and as expats, like for other people who are listening, that it's very important that we use this time to see what are the lessons that we can learn. What can we take back to our country to implement? Because yes, we're here to make the money and to live an expat life and to travel, but it shouldn't be just that. It should be, how can we, as you said, become change agents when we return home, whether that's in government or in whatever company you work,
or even in a small community.
In your community, in your family.
Yeah.
What difference, what small change or what small difference can you make? Kemar, I also wanted to ask about your leadership before China or prior to China. So we've talked about you wanting to go back to Jamaica in a leadership capacity, but I know that prior to China, you mentioned being involved in the church, and I think that's also an area that we have where we're similar because we both grew up in the church. And I left the church when my father died because I felt angry at God for not answering the prayer that I prayed so much, which was to heal.
Yeah.
And for years, I was just going down a path where I was just living my life because I couldn't understand it. But now I've returned to the fold, not so much returned to religion, but to a relationship with Him. How?
It's all that matters.
So where do you think you are on, like, on that path? Do you think that your leadership role in church has inspired the leadership role that you want to take up in the future, because leading in church is also serving the people as well as serving a
Yeah.
high power. So it
Yeah.
seems to me that you've had those leadership traits from a child. And even when you study leadership theory, it's talked about, and it's fun about on social media, that some leaders are born while others
Yeah.
are.
Well, others are made.
Yes. But it is like science actually proves that there are people who are born with certain traits that make them good leaders. And since you have demonstrated that in the church and even now in China, and you have plans to do that in Jamaica, what are the correlations do you think between all three, the Kemar in Jamaica, the Kemar now in China, and the one who will return to Jamaica?
That's a very good question, because so my career paths in the past, but I saw myself as always involved some semblance of leadership. What do I mean? When I was growing up, my grandmother always remarked that I told her I wanted to be a preacher. Not even in a town church, but a country church of all places. Like, not that I don't like country, it's just too far to get to, in most instances. So that was kind of puzzling to me that I would say something like that to her.
Uh-huh.
And then, so church was all I knew growing up. From home to church, school to church, every day, Monday through to Friday, and then you break Saturday, probably play some football at church for the Saturday, and you come back Sunday through to the Sunday night, and then the cycle returns.
Mm-hmm.
So church was really, literally all my life.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up there, baptized in my church, believing in filling of the Holy Ghost. So that was also done. I was playing drums. I was in the music ministry. They used to use me for preach, exaltations and youth service and all that kind of thing. So I was there, and even to date, a lot of I have a mentor who's an elder now. He always remarked, having left the church,
Mm-hmm.
he says to me, remember Athaliah? That was a story in the Bible, Athaliah, who had killed off all her children, and the place takers came. He said, the place taker has come, the place taker has taken your place. That kind of get to me in a way, because I knew exactly what he was getting at. Even my grandmother to date, you would have been a minister now in the church.
So okay,
Yes.
before you
You
even
know.
so the place taker has taken your place. I want to go a bit deeper with that. So you said that you feel away. So I know as Jamaicans we like to say, yeah man, I feel away. But I want you to
You feel
describe
away.
that feeling to me if you can.
So all right, so sometimes you won't always see your own potential, but people do.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's an important lesson. The people who see your potential will be more disappointed in what you did not achieve than you who really have the potential. But the problem is, you don't have that experience to see your own potential, and that is quite fine. But that is quite fine. So I felt some type of way when I see the younger ones coming up after me, how they are being used in the church, the opportunities that they are getting, all that kind of thing. And then I start to go back in my mind, and I'm like, what if I did not? What if I had handled a particular situation better?
Can you
What
tell
if
us
I did
why
not?
you left the church?
It is a multiplicity of factors that just came down all at once. There was an incident. So of course, I played music in church, and so there was this music minister, this gentleman. He shall remain nameless. And so I felt like that, older people in the church, they really don't remember that they were young ones. And so there's that constant battle It's like they wait until you fall in the ditch before they say, yeah, me know you did I go fall down.
Yes.
And so if you knew that I was going to fall, where were you to help me or to catch me or to guide me and that kind of thing? You know, so that was one particular incident. And then there was another one. I was staying with a family in the US for some time. And the treatment that bishop gave me, it's funny because it's just a couple nights ago, I was telling my grandmother for the first time what happened. Because she mentioned it to me, Kemar, you just leave the church. So, oh my God, you know. And I said, Mama, this is what happened. And she said, what is saying? So I can't, really go into it in the podcast, maybe at another time. But it was just distasteful, disgraceful coming from a person who you would feel like is a man of God, a family of God, and how they dealt with me. I said, but this can't be real. This cannot be real.
A lot of people has lost the faith because of that.
Yeah.
Church hurt. That's what it's called.
Yeah, no, I say church hurt, Sean. Too much is being downplayed in terms of church hurt. Because you're going to hear on the show say, you never really save and you look like you go to church for people. No, that is not the thing. The thing is, it is good when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord.
Amen, brother.
No. How can I be going into a place where I'm not comfortable enough to even lift up my hands and worship? No one is talking about that. The young people are suffering in the body of Christ.
No one turns you back from the club. Like
nobody not. None of that, me sure. No one not turning it back. Yeah. So all right. So I was talking about the leadership, and so coming through the years now, I said, you know what? I'm going to turn into a policeman. Yes, Kemar wanted to be a police. I did all of the exams. At that time, Jamaica had the two forces, the ISCF, the Island Special Constabulary, and the JCF, which is now merged into one. So I did all of the tests, passed them with flying colors. I went away at this point because I left. It's funny because I left that opportunity to pursue that foreign opportunity with the Christian family thing. And so by the time I came back, I'm told that the requirements have changed. I have to go back through all of the process. At this point, my grandmother was like, I don't like the police force, Jesus. And so her worrying wavered me, and so I left it alone. And then there was a community meeting where my member of parliament at the time and the councillor for the division were invited to the meeting. And I stood up. At this point, I was the president of the Manly Meadows Police Youth Club. And so I stood up in my most verbose, eloquent way, asked a few questions, chided who was supposed to be chided. And I think that was sometime in maybe 2007 thereabout. And they invited me, they gave me actually at this point a seat at the table. And I said, I cannot squander this opportunity, because with this opportunity, I can impact a lot of my peers, people who are like me, young like me, and probably a little bit older, you know what I mean? And I'm happy to say that I have not squandered it.
So that is how
happy to say that. So
that's how you got into politics.
That is how I got into it. That is how I got into it. So the 3 Ps, the preacher, the police, and the politician. What that tells me though, what that tells me about myself is that I've always have this natural ebullient drive to serve people.
Exactly. Yes. And
that's really what it has told me.
There's another one, but there's no P. Is there a P for that? Because I remember when you in the group, because you're here studying and you are fluent in Chinese, and I remember
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, okay, you're like, okay, Chinese lessons. So you started giving us Chinese lessons. So there you
yeah, yeah,
go,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
serving
yeah.
again, giving us free Chinese lessons, but there's no P for that one. Oh, professor. Oh,
Right.
yes.
Oh, well, here you go. Well, there you go. No, I mean, I don't know. I grew up on my grandmother being being service driven.
Mm-hmm.
She's a lady that don't have much, but whatever she has, you
Yeah.
go and get it.
Yes.
You understand me? My mother is the same. All my aunts, a 6-woman grew me,
Mm-hmm.
and all of them are selfless people.
Mm-hmm.
Whether with their friends, their family, co-workers, you name it. I've never come across, them, me not have it, even
Yeah.
when them have it or whatever. Not. They have just always been service driven.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the influence. Maybe, just
Definitely.
maybe, maybe.
So that was the Kemar before China. So pastor, um, and then pastor, preacher, and into
Mm,
politics, and then to China, student and a professor. So
my
Kemar,
God.
you are older than the average student doing their bachelor.
I'm very old.
So how do you feel about that? Especially living when you lived on dorm. I'm sure you lived among students who were
Yeah.
18, 19, and you, I mean, should I say
And
your
them,
age
and them just
on
young.
this? Yeah. So how did you feel about
Oh my
that?
God.
And what
Let me
kept
tell you
you
something.
motivated?
Sorry, continue.
Yeah,
And what? Sorry.
kept you motivated? Because I like when I was attending university, I had
Mhm.
peers like classmates who were older, but I know a lot of them they felt as if they missed out on something, as if they're
Yeah,
playing catch up with us, the
yeah.
younger ones. So tell us about that experience.
So my schooling really has a lot to do with family.
Mm-hmm.
No, we were not a family who had much, and so we made do with whatever. As a result of that, I don't think there was a real push or a drive to go to school or to seek tertiary level education. We were just always, you know, work driven, so to speak. You leave high school, you find a work,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not the first person in my entire family, obviously, to go to a university, but I might be the first to do it this old, you
Okay.
know, just maybe, if
Do you
memory serves
mind
me
telling
correct.
us your age?
Yeah, no, I'm 32, and it is and so this 32 is closer to 50 than it is to age one. So
No,
I'm old.
but what you're doing is incredible because you are doing your degree now and
Yeah,
you're learning Chinese. Like I've lived here for 4 years
no,
and
it's
I I'm still at my basics. So hats off to you with that. Um
well, I tell you what.
mm,
So yeah, right. So university wasn't a part of my plan.
mhm,
It became a part of my plans sometime. So I was working comfortably. I was in stable jobs. Of course, I did certificate courses. I'm certified as an IT technician,
mhm,
right? So I did those certificate courses, and then the politics says that for me, it felt like when I get there, when I really and truly fully get there, I probably am going to be the only one with a certificate. Hello. That's
ah,
not going to make me properly marketable, if you get what I mean. So
yeah.
that was an influence, number one. Number two, I had recently started a family,
Mhm,
right? My wife at the time, she was she was in the last year of UA.
mhm,
And we saw that through with her. My daughter Kalia came before that.
mhm,
So here is a man now with a family, couple certificates behind his name. He's not going to be all that marketable in the world of work. So
Mm-hmm.
I we collectively made a concerted decision to seek higher education.
Mm-hmm.
First, we ensured that she got through her last year, and then it would be my time.
Mm-hmm.
However, my time came with me leaving the island to pursue that, you know. But dorm life in China, mm-mm. Now remember now, this was my first real taste of university.
Yes.
And so everything is different. Number one, the environment is different. Number two, you're older than these guys are.
Of course.
Yeah. Number three, you're learning all of your material in a foreign language. Jesus of his mercy.
It's
There
different.
were times, and probably still are, but there were times
Mm-hmm.
when I am like, hello, what am I doing here? I was okay back home. I
Mm.
had my stable job. I had a family, people who love me, that kind of thing. I was comfortable.
So when those times
Liter-
come, what makes you decide to push on?
the oh Lord, I might shed a tear. I try not to shed a tear, but you
Oh,
see, when you have the responsibility of another human
yeah.
and you want to set good examples,
Mm-hmm.
I have a small pocket size picture of my daughter on my nightstand.
Mm-hmm.
And I just look at that and I say, if there's anything in this world
Mm-hmm.
that she could probably remember me doing, is that her father, in the name of family, went to another country,
Mm-hmm.
suffered all these things to get an education so that she could be better off.
Yes.
And so if he can do it at whatever age, then I can do it too.
Or,
These are the things that come with a lot of responsibilities. If I never had them kind of things here, I would be out there frolicking and that kind of thing.
but you remember why. I
You
think
have to remember, you have to
important.
ground yourself.
Wow, I love that you mentioned that, grounding yourself, because
Yeah,
there's
you have to
so
ground
much.
yourself.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, this place will suck you in.
Mm-hmm.
China,
Yes.
with all of its freedoms and the expats that are here,
Uh-huh.
you'd get so sucked in that you don't even remember that you must protect your own phone. What do I mean by that? A lot of us are gonna go home to Jamaica, and pop out our phones everywhere,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can get so sucked into this kind of euphoric living,
Yes.
but
Yes.
not remembering the goal that we had in mind when we come here. If really that's it, that's even if we really had a goal,
Of course.
But there is a goal, and I'm trying to do that. As a matter of fact, one other part of the goal is that, with me having this degree now, you're gonna be more marketable.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of constituency seats that are being lined up.
Okay.
You
So
understand?
I'm happy that you segued into that. So how far along are you in your degree? I'm not sure how many years you've got left over here.
Listen, Shauna, yesterday I went and I did graduation pictures in China.
What?
But it's so funny because I still have 2 semesters left, which is just a year. So by next
Oh,
year, this time.
okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let me be
Yeah.
the
So
first to tell you
listen,
congratulations, Kemar. Like,
listen,
not easy, but you've persevered. You remember your why, and
listen,
your little princess is proud of her dad. And as you said,
listen.
like, you've done, she knows that, listen,
It can
we
be
live
done.
in a borderless world. Anything is possible now. Like, just you and you take anymore, or America, like, you can go anywhere, you can be anything. So yeah, so next year you'll have the degree in hand, and then it's back to Jamaica and back to the political aspirations, I'm assuming.
Back to the politics, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the politics. I tell people that it's perhaps the politics who really chose me,
Yes.
because I mean, if you really had a choice and know that you're in it, not necessarily at the top, but you're in it, so you see some things, politics really broke you, you know. No, anyone, and I say this without fear or favor, whether it is my side or the other side, anyone who gets rich from politics is corrupt. Because a person with a PhD goes into politics in Jamaica. Their annual salary comes up to just about maybe $5 million Jamaican dollars. So that's an average $300,000 per month at a PhD level. Which PhD person you hear getting $300,000 a month? And that's and that is at the top of the thing there, right? And so when you consider the constituents that you have to serve, you might get a constituency development fund of about $15 million, and that is for a year. Remember now, on average, a constituency has just about 30,000 people. And that is in one division then, so to speak. So your 300,000 a month, the 15 million per year can't serve the people then. So yeah, so if you get rich in politics, you are corrupt. And I have no qualms about saying that.
I think we do have a lot of corrupt politicians in Jamaica. I have some hope and some faith that you will not become one of them.
Boy, I hope, you know, I just have to keep grounded.
Yes, yes. And we are here to hold you accountable. I mean, everyone who's listening to this episode right now, guys, let it be heard that Kemar Brown said that he will not be a corrupt politician. So I remember whatever is posted on the internet will be there. So it cannot be erased.
Right, it cannot be erased.
And this
should tell him, leave a comment in the comment section.
Will not be edited. So it's raw and it's live.
Raw. It's, my God.
It's our ramblings. So Kemar, thank you so much for joining me today. You've talked about your leadership both prior to Jamaica, prior to China, in China, and your hopes for the future of Jamaica and for yourself. Thank you for reminding us about being grounded and remaining true to who you are, like being authentic. And that is something that I preach as well. And one of my aims for this podcast, that's why it's unedited, that's why there's no script. I just want to ramble and let the flow of consciousness lead. And that is what we have been doing on this episode. Before we close, is there anything that you would like to say to our listeners? At the end, I usually like to give a little nugget. Since you're the man of the show today, you can any final word.
Any final word? Let me see. Any final word? Oh my God.
I don't want to put you on this.
I just want to say, no, it's not a spot thing, you know. I just really want to say that, you know, if you consider two things, I got two things. Consider a ship and how it is built, really. You know, they were never built, number one, to stay in the docks or on the pier. They were really built to sail and sail long distances. So don't anchor yourself to one particular situation. Don't do that. Try to sail the seas of life, experience the world, go out there, leave your comfort zone, and just find your inner peace. The next thing is that when you consider a glass of water and you put a utensil in it, as straight as the utensil is outside of that glass of water, if you put it in it, it is bent. It's almost appearing to be broken. And so that is the situation we face when we we look at our circumstances through our tears, through worrying eyes.
Wow.
It looks bent, it looks broken,
Mhm.
it looks bent. Dry up your eye, them man, and start to
That's a
face the
nugget right
world with
there.
all the ebullience.
Mhm.
With all of the ebullience. All right. So it was
Wow.
a pleasure being here with you, Sean. I'm always happy to interact with you. I'm always so very happy to interact with you. And pleasure talking to you and the listeners.
Thank you again, Kamar. Well, there you have it, guys. This has been another episode of Reeves Ramblings. Thank you guys for listening. And I will see you guys the next time. Well, not see you guys. Well, you guys will hear me again another
Here.
time. Oh, God, I'm so awkward, guys. But this is why you guys love me and this is why you listen to me. So I'll catch you guys later. Bye.